Good morning everyone. This is class 12th, subject chemistry, chapter number 14, biomolecules, lecture number 1. Now, let's start with the introduction of this chapter. First thing is, what are biomolecules? So, biomolecules are atoms or molecules present in living system. And generally, what a living system does, it grows, sustains and reproduces itself. So we can define biomolecules, that is, biomolecules are the atoms or molecules present in living system. And the most amazing thing about a living system is that it is composed of non-living atoms and molecules. And the study of these biomolecules can be done under the branch of chemistry that is known as biochemistry. So the study of these biomolecules can be done under this branch of chemistry that is known as biochemistry. So when we talk about biomolecules, we have n number of biomolecules. For example, carbohydrates. Carbohydrates are the example of biomolecules. Proteins, fats, lipids and nucleic acid. So these are some examples of biomolecules. Now let's go on the first type over here, that is carbohydrates. So first we start with carbohydrates. Carbohydrates are primarily produced by plants and forms a very large group of naturally occurring organic compounds. Some common examples are cane sugar. Cane sugar is the example of carbohydrate. Glucose, starch, etc. So these are some examples of carbohydrates. Now most of these have formula, general formula, that is CH2OY. And because of this CXH2OY, they are also known as hydrates of carbon. These are also known as hydrates of carbon. Now, for example, if we consider C6H12O6, this is the formula for glucose. Now, this C6H12O6 fits in this formula, that is, if the value of X and Y is 6H2O6. So this formula C6H12O6 fits in this formula, that is, here the value of X and Y is 6. But all the compounds which fit into this formula may not be classified as carbohydrates. For example, acetic acid. The formula is CH3COOH. This is acetic acid. Now, if we write down this acetic acid in this form, that is CXH2OY, so the value of X and Y is 2, C2H4O2. Now, this compound is satisfying this formula. So this acetic acid is satisfying the formula, but it is not a carbohydrate. Rhamnose is a carbohydrate having formula C6H12O5. but this formula is not fit in this form CxH2OY. So from here we can say that CxH2OY is not the general formula for carbohydrates. So we cannot take CxH2OY as the general formula for carbohydrates. So after this, one new definition, that is modern definition, is given for carbohydrates, and that is carbohydrates may be defined as optically active polyhydroxy aldehydes or ketones or the compounds which produce such units on hydrolysis. So after rejecting the general formula of carbohydrates, that is CxH2OY, new modern definition was given, that is carbohydrates are optically active polyhydroxy aldehydes or ketones or the compounds which produce such units on hydrolysis. Now when we talk about carbohydrates, there are certain carbohydrates which are sweet in taste, and those are known as sugars. So those carbohydrates which are sweet in taste, those are known as sugars. Sugars are sweet in taste. And there are certain carbohydrates which are not sweet in taste, those are known as non-sugars. So non-sugars are those which are not sweet in taste. So examples of sweet sugars are sucrose, glucose. These are sweet in nature. An example of non-sugar is starch, cellulose. So these are not sweet in taste, so these are known as non-sugars, and sugars are those which are sweet in taste. Example, sucrose, glucose. And carbohydrates are also known as saccharides. Saccharone means sugar, so these carbohydrates are also known as saccharides. Now next is classification of carbohydrates. So next is classification of carbohydrates. So first is monosaccharides. What are monosaccharides? How will you define monosaccharides? So monosaccharides are the smallest unit of any carbohydrate and they cannot be further hydrolyzed. So from here we can write the definition for monosaccharide. A carbohydrate, monosaccharide is a carbohydrate that cannot be hydrolyzed, further. So this is the definition for monosaccharide, and about 20 monosaccharides are known to occur in nature. And examples of monosaccharides are glucose, fructose, ribose, etc. So these are some examples of monosaccharides. Monosaccharides are those which cannot be hydrolyzed further, and these monosaccharides are the smallest unit of any carbohydrate. So first classification is monosaccharides. Now second is oligosaccharides. Second is oligosaccharide. The definition for oligosaccharides is carbohydrates that yield 2 to 10 monosaccharide units, 2 to 10 monosaccharides units on hydrolysis. So oligosaccharides are the carbohydrates that produce 2 to 10 monosaccharide units on hydrolysis, and these oligosaccharides are further classified as these oligosaccharides are further classified as disaccharides, trisaccharides, tetrasaccharides, etc. So oligosaccharides are those which yield 2 to 10 monosaccharide units on hydrolysis, and these oligosaccharides are further classified into disaccharides, trisaccharides, tetrasaccharides, etc. So examples of disaccharides are when we do the hydrolysis of sucrose. So here we will get glucose and fructose. So sucrose on hydrolysis is giving glucose and fructose, that is here 2 monosaccharide units are formed, that is why sucrose is the example of disaccharide. Second example is hydrolysis of maltose. Here again on hydrolysis we are getting 2 units of glucose. So here we are getting 2 units of glucose. So this is also the example of disaccharide. So sucrose and maltose are the examples of disaccharides. Third classification is polysaccharides. Now how will you define polysaccharides? So these are the carbohydrates. Polysaccharides are the carbohydrates which yield a large number of monosaccharide units. A large number of monosaccharide units on hydrolysis. Or you can say that more than 10 units of monosaccharides are produced on hydrolysis. Examples of polysaccharides are starch, which is obtained from rice and potato. Cellulose, which is obtained from bark of the tree. And glycogen. So these are some example of polysaccharides. So when we do the hydrolysis of these, we will get large number of monosaccharide units. So polysaccharides are those carbohydrates which yield a large number of monosaccharide units on hydrolysis. So these are the three classification of carbohydrates: monosaccharides, oligosaccharides and polysaccharides. There is one more type of classification of carbohydrates as reducing and non-reducing sugar. So here carbohydrates classification as reducing and non-reducing sugars. So what are reducing sugars and non-reducing sugars? First we will discuss reducing sugars. What are reducing sugars? So all those carbohydrates which reduce Fehling solution and Tollens reagent, they are referred to as reducing sugars. So these are defined as carbohydrates which reduce Fehling solution and Tollens reagent. So those carbohydrates which reduce Fehling solution and Tollens reagents are referred to as reducing sugars. Second is non-reducing sugars. So non-reducing sugars are those which does not reduce Fehling solution and Tollens reagent. Example of reducing sugar is glucose. Glucose is reducing sugar. And example of non-reducing sugar is sucrose. Next classification is on the basis of number of carbon atoms and functional group. So first is, if a monosaccharide contains an aldehyde group, then it is known as aldose, and if it contains a keto group, then it is known as ketose. So if a monosaccharide contains an aldehyde group, then it is known as aldose, and if it contains a keto group, then it is known as ketose. So here one table is given. If the number of carbon atom is 3, then the general term is triose, and if it contains aldehyde group, then it is known as aldotriose, and if it contains keto group, then it is ketotriose. Next is, if carbon atoms are 4, then the general term is tetrose, and if it contains aldehyde group, then it is aldotetrose, and if it contains keto group, then it is ketotetrose. Next is, if carbon atoms are 5, then it is pentose. If it contains aldehyde group, then it is aldopentose, and if it contains keto group, then it is ketopentose. Next is, if carbon atoms are 6, then the term used is hexose. If it contains aldehyde group, then it is aldohexose, and if it contains keto group, then it is ketohexose. Next is if carbon atoms are 7, then the general term used is heptose. If it contains aldehyde group, then it is aldoheptose, and if it contains keto group, then it is known as ketoheptose. So these are different types of monosaccharides. Now let's start with the monosaccharide, that is glucose. We will discuss the structure, preparation of glucose. Now we will discuss glucose, which is a monosaccharide. The molecular formula for glucose is C6H12O6, and this glucose occurs freely in nature as well as in the combined form, and it is present in sweet fruits and honey. Ripe grapes also contains large amount of glucose. So first we will discuss the preparation of glucose, and after that we will discuss the structure of glucose. First preparation is from sucrose, which is also known as cane sugar. So when we do the hydrolysis of sucrose in presence of dilute HCl or dilute H2SO4 in alcoholic solution, glucose and fructose are obtained in equal amount. So first preparation of glucose is from sucrose. When we boil sucrose in presence of dilute HCl in alcoholic solution, here we are getting glucose and fructose. Second preparation of glucose is from starch. Glucose can also be prepared from starch. Glucose is obtained by the hydrolysis of starch by boiling it with dilute H2SO4 at 393 Kelvin under 2 to 3 atmospheric pressure. So here starch, which is a polysaccharide, the formula is C6H10O5N. Because this is a polysaccharide, so when we do the hydrolysis of starch in presence of acidic medium at 393 Kelvin temperature and 2 to 3 atmospheric pressure, so here N molecule of glucose are obtained. So this is the second preparation of glucose. So these are the two preparation of glucose. First is from sucrose and second is from starch. Now next is structure of glucose. Second thing is structure of glucose. The molecular formula for glucose is C6H12O6. So many experiments and many reactions were performed, and on those basis, first thing is to find out the functional group in glucose. The formula is C6H12O6, but this contains which functional group? So first thing is to find out the functional group present in glucose. And when a lot of reactions were taken into the account, and on those basis it was confirmed that aldehyde group is present in glucose, because the C6H12O6 is giving all the reactions of aldehyde. So from that the conclusion is made that this glucose contains aldehyde group. So glucose is, the molecular formula is C6H12O6 and it is known as aldohexose. Aldohexose. Why aldohexose? Because it contains aldehyde group and here 6 carbon atoms are present. So the name is aldohexose and it is also known as dextrose. Glucose is also known as dextrose. And this glucose is the monomer of many of the larger carbohydrates. namely starch, cellulose, etc. It is probably the most abundant organic compound on earth. So, it was assigned the structure given below on the basis of following evidences. First thing is the molecular formula for glucose is C6H12O6. Now, when we heat, so here is the structure of glucose. It contains aldehyde group, CHOH, 4 and CH2OH. So first is when we heat this glucose with HI. So here N-hexane is formed. CH3, CH2, 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 CH3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is N-hexane. So this reaction shows that all the 6 carbon atoms are linked in a straight chain in glucose. So in presence of HI, all these groups are reduced to hydrocarbon. So on prolonged heating with HI, here this N-hexane is formed, suggesting that all the 6 carbon atoms in glucose are linked in a straight chain. Second thing is, glucose reacts with hydroxylamine as well as adds a molecule of hydrogen cyanide to give cyanohydrin. So here is the reaction. This is hydroxylamine NH2OH. Glucose reacts with hydroxylamine to form an oxime. So this is the reaction of carbonyl group with ammonia derivative. This hydroxylamine is ammonia derivative. So this reaction we have already discussed in carboxylic acid chapter number 12. Here oxime will form. So it is CH double bond NOH. Water molecule will be lost and here this will convert to oxime. Next is when we treat glucose with HCN, so here cyanohydrin will form. This is again the example of nucleophilic addition reaction on carbonyl group. So here we will get CH, OH, CN, this is cyanohydrin, CHOH, 4 and CH2OH. So these two reactions represents that here aldehyde group is present. These two reactions represents that here carbonyl group is present in glucose. And since this glucose is giving the reactions of aldehyde, so from here there is a confirmation that this glucose contain aldehyde group. Now third is glucose gets oxidized to 6 carbon carboxylic acid, that is gluconic acid, on reaction with mild oxidizing agent like bromine water. So when we treat this glucose with bromine water, here we are getting gluconic acid. Since this bromine water is a mild oxidizing agent, so it will oxidize only this CHO group to this carboxylic acid group. So this indicates that the carbonyl group is present in glucose is in aldehyde. Next is if we treat this glucose with strong oxidizing agent, like fourth reaction is if we treat this glucose with strong oxidizing agent like HNO3. So what will happen? The CHO as well as the CH2OH both converts to carboxylic acid, COH. So on treatment of glucose with concentrated HNO3, this is a strong oxidizing agent, it will oxidize the CHO and CH2OH to COH. So this reaction shows the presence of primary alcoholic group, because only in presence of strong oxidizing agent primary alcohol converts to carboxylic acid, and the name of this acid is saccharic acid. Next reaction is acetylation of glucose with acetic anhydride. This is the formula for acetic anhydride, CH3CO OCOCH3. So here acetylation reaction will occur and pentaacetate will form which confirms the presence of 5 OH group, 4 here and 1 is here. So this acetylation of glucose with acetic anhydride gives pentaacetate, which confirms the presence of 5 OH group. Since it exists as a stable compound, 5 OH groups should be attached to different carbon atoms. So this reaction shows the presence of 5 OH group present in glucose. So these are the reactions by which we are getting the structure of glucose. First is on prolonged heating, here we are getting an hexane, which confirms that these 6 carbon atoms are attached in a straight chain manner. Second is when we treat glucose with hydroxylamine, so here oxime is formed. This confirms that there is presence of carbonyl group in glucose. Also it adds a molecule of HCN which again indicates the presence of carbonyl group. Now reaction of glucose with bromine water. So here this bromine water is a mild oxidizing agent and this converts this aldehyde group to carboxylic acid, and from here there is a confirmation of presence of aldehyde group because mild oxidizing agent only oxidize aldehyde to carboxylic acid. But when we treat this glucose with HNO3, so here this CHO as well as the CH2OH, both groups are converted to carboxylic acid. This is a strong oxidizing agent and this indicates the presence of primary alcohol group in glucose. Next reaction is treatment of glucose with acetic anhydride results in the formation of pentaacetate, which confirms the presence of 5 OH group present in the glucose. So these are the 5 reactions. In the next lecture we will discuss the Fischer structure of glucose, cyclic structure of glucose and the structure of fructose. So after doing this you can solve NCERT exercise question number 14.1, 14.2 and 14.9. Thank you. Please like and subscribe this channel.